Reggies in Liverpool. So he's making it, doing it. He's running it back again as we do get a chance to have a glimpse of the prizes. One Reggie Rock, one Reggie Steele there. Other than that, nothing too crazy from either side of the board, as we do see both players have set up fist bump, and this will kick off our Swiss round 12 of this special event in Utrecht. Does look like Chris will be starting us off here with a nest ball.
Alex, I'm not sure if you got to see that hand, but I think I saw a hand of all basic energy and that singular nest ball. Now, okay, well, I guess if that is the case, what you're going to have to do is start using that Reggie Gate as soon as possible, because that lets you grab any basic Pokemon and pop it onto your bench. But I think apart from that, you're not going to be seeing a whole deal. But let me explain how this Reggie deck works. We haven't seen it in a while. So, Reggie Gigas has the ability Ancient Wisdom. As long as you have all the Reggies in play, so that's every single one of them, you can grab 3 energy from your discard pile and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. Now, worth noting, that does not say basic energy. So that means you can reattach special energy if you like. So double turbo energy would be an option. He isn't playing it, Chris, obviously, though. The main one we'll be looking at here is gift energy. So that would let you draw up to 7 when the Pokemon is attached to is KO'd. Also worth noting, he does play a one-off Luminous energy as well, which will count as any color energy while it's attached, as long as you have no other special energy in play. So Chris, first minigame is to get all the Reggies down, and the second minigame is to get the relevant energy in a discard pile. After that, the deck will just use Ancient Wisdom over and over and over again to find the attacker, or to fuel the attackers.
Yeah, and just to kind of combine that as well, he does have an MADSEN. We do see another Reggie is going to be coming down. You know, they tend to be quite big, bulky basics for just, you know, just non-V, non-EX, non-rule box type Pokemon, of course. So it's just all these single prizes. Tend to hit for different weaknesses when it was a very often played deck.
Yes.
Now, it's in a scenario where it's still having to utilize a lot of different sort of type attackers, but this time having to utilize all of those sort of more basic energies to power it up.
Yeah, without there being stuff like Aurora energy being used anymore. Worth noting, this Reggie Drago has the Dragon Horde ability. When it's inactive, you can draw to have 4 cards in your hand. It's actually Chris's only form of onboard draw, since you can't play barrel or anything like this, because every bench spot has to be dedicated to a Reggie Pokemon. As Chris is going to end the turn and pass it over to Oscar, who's going to kick us off with a Battle VIP pass whilst having a Rotom V in the active.
Yeah, that Rotom V is going to be super great in this slight scenario here, because turn 1, Oscar typically won't be able to do too much in terms of sort of starting attacks, for example. Could maybe utilize something like the Celebrations Mew shade that we spoke about so much just prior to this game, or maybe even trying to utilize something like the Pidgey's Call for Family, but just having that Rotom V available has the possibility to use Instant Charge to end the turn and draw 3 cards, as we do see our pink little friend there hit the board. Not Zacian V there, is it, Jake?
Okay, you've got to keep winning with this, because we can't let Alex win these anymore. Have you seen it? He's seen how much he's going on about this? Golly. Worth noting, though, that Rotom V is weak to fighting. Reggie Rock would be able to KO it. I think it does 140, that Reggie Rock, so that is something that Chris can KO in one hit and take multiple prize cards whilst doing so. But I think you are correct. Going off this Battle VIP pass and Artisan search, I would imagine Oscar would be looking to use Mysterious Tail this turn, or maybe even use Call for Family at the end just to grab some Charmander and or Pidgey.
I mean, we'll be looking to try and maneuver into the active spot. Does have a Jet Energies, does jet into the Mew. Which is a great little inclusion in the deck, that opportunity to just switch into the active spot with the energy attachment. We do see a Mysterious Tail. After VIP hits, so we'll be able to continue setting up the board, and this is exactly what Oscar will be looking to try and do in this matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I was trying to work out this matchup, and when we found out this was going to be our stream match, and there is no Grass-type Reggie, so we will not be hitting a Charizard EX for weakness anytime soon. So I think Oscar just needs a normal game plan, get out your Terra Charizard EX and start swinging. I think for Chris, he'll be looking to utilize, I would imagine, the Evolving Skies Reggie Drago, since Dragon Energy for Grass Fire energy cost deals a massive 240 damage. Just try and use that over and over and over again.
Yeah, Chris's side of the board is really going to start trying to swing for 2-hit knockouts.
Yes.
Utilizing either of the Reggie Dragos, as he does boss up the Registeel as well, just to end the turn with an insta-charge, just kind of limit what Chris can do from that Dragon's Horde ability of that Regidrago. You did also see the Manaphy come down from Oscar's Guide, wanting to protect herself from that card that we do see in Chris's hand right now, that Regieleki, which has that Terra Spark attack, 120 damage for 2 lightning and 1 colorless. Discard all lightning energy from this Pokemon, but also does 40 damage to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Now, if you're beginning to just set up knockouts on your opponent's side of the board, that's another great way for this type of deck to end up in a position where it could take some wins. As we do see a Regigate there, I believe. With the final Regis come down, the full partners in crime are together now. Regigigas has hit the field, and that Registeel is in the active spot.
And it looks like we are going to get over to Oscar's turn. He's going to start the turn off there with a mysterious tail. And I think it's actually a massive find there for Oscar grabbing that Manaphy, because you're right, Terra Spark could start to really line up benched Pokemon quickly.
Yeah, and remind yourself how that was able to do that again. It was that little pink friend, our Mew celebrations, grabbing all of those support cards. And this is how it works. You know, it finds itself in a lot of decks which are very item heavy. Typically those rare candy stage 2 decks, like Gardevoir EX, like Charizard EX, and it's just really showcasing its value here. It's got that energy already ready to go to start retreating if it needs to do so. The Forest Sealstones on that Rotom V now, so can activate the V-Star ability, Star Alchemy, and grab any cards. But as we're going through the motions here, Ultra Balling away that Arven Fire Energy, we are starting to, you'd see this game plan really come to life for Oscar.
Yeah, I mean, this is off to the races for a Charizard EX deck turn 2. Going to have a turn 2 Pidgeot EX and has the rare candy in hand and the Charizard. So that means this quick search will most likely find, you know, a rare candy to get the Charizard EX into play. And all of a sudden, this has got a little bit out of hand so fast, right? This is the scary thing about Charizard EX, is that a turn 2 Pokemon, 330 HP, that has set itself up and is dealing massive damage. Now, traditionally, Burning Darkness dealing 180 in the early game is sort of a downside, right? Oh, goodness gracious me, 180 is not enough. However, when you're playing against a Reggie's deck where nothing has over, I think, 130, I guess the Regigigas has 150 HP maximum, all of a sudden, 180 Burning Darkness is perfectly fine.
Yeah, 100%. We talk about it being super efficient, you know, just by evolving up that Infernal Rain coming down, 2 Fire Energies attached now to that Charizard EX. We've spoken about this combo of going from the Star Alchemy, even if it's needed, or just, you know, the rare candy from Mew into the Pidgeot, into the Charizard. And that sequencing of motions there is really just very poetic. As we do see now the Charizard, who will eventually be just kind of staring down against these Reggies and just start taking knockouts as soon as possible.
And I think we saw the Star Alchemy grab the Collapse Stadium, so we're going to even, I would imagine, discard the Rotom V, the only liability realistically on the board right now for Oscar, as we do see Collapse, and that's a double-pronged sword actually, because not only does Oscar get to remove the Rotom, but it actually forces Chris to remove a Reggie, which means that Ancient Wisdom will no longer be alive, well, live I should say, since Regigigas is sent to discard pile, and so is Registeel off that KO. But a nice Super Rod to try and get those Reggies back, Alex.
Yeah, I believe there's also an Iono in Chris's hand now, so we'll be able to start looking for those combo pieces again. We've already spoken about that kind of mini games to get all of the Reggies out and then all the right energy types into the discard pile, so that Chris can start swinging, because Oscar has initiated the prize race here by taking that knockout. We do see the manual attachment Dragon's Horde first to kind of maximize, finds a Nest Ball, so can reactivate at least one more of those Registeel or Regigigas that we've already lost that has been super rodded back.
But it's really worth, it's an interesting note, right? That this Regidrago Asceniactor has 2 energy. Giant Fangs is 160. Now that times 2 is 220. That is not enough to KO a Charizard EX. And in normal scenarios, you think, right, well, we'll just bench the other Regidrago and start attacking with that. But you can't in this deck, because you can only have space for one Regidrago. So that means Chris, if he is forced to use Giant Fangs, could be a bit inefficient.
No, 100%, but it's just got to try and find maybe that next piece. Does find the Luminous Energy, so can start swinging away at this Charizard EX as well.
That is true.
But remember, has already attached from hand, is unable to, I believe, remove the Collapse Stadium from play right now. So we're in a sticky situation here for the Reggies, Shay.
Yeah, the collapse stadium basically reads you cannot use Ancient Wisdom until it's gone. It's that simple, because collapse stadium forces Chris to only have 4 bench Pokemon, and for Regigigas to activate you need to have 5. So that collapse stadium actually proving a real irritant there for Chris to deal with. And yeah, close to being able to use Giant Fangs, but not quite, as we are going to see this Earthen Vessel be used here to grab the Lightning Energy and Metal Energy from the deck. Earthen Vessel is a really good card in this deck, because not only is the discard synergy fantastic, but you also get to filter in all the basic energy you like as well. As well, I was going to see a pass.
It's just a pass. Those energies that are attached to the Regidrago will be going down back into the discard. Remember, as long as Chris can refresh that board state and get those Regidrago and then Registeel back up once again with another collapse stadium in play, it does mean there's an opportunity here to just then reload and start swinging away. But this is at his detriment right now. Oscar will be going to 2 prizes ahead in this matchup once he announces Burning Darkness one more time.
Yeah, 2 prizes ahead when your best case scenario for Chris is 2-shotting your opponent. Could be traditionally quite a hard avenue to try and come back from. But, you know, Chris is at a fantastic record. So I'm sure if anyone can navigate out of this 2-prize hole, I'm sure Chris is up there. As well, I was going to see a Burning Darkness Alex as Oscar takes his 2nd prize card. And now it's over to Chris.
Yeah, Regieleki promoted here. Does have the Ultra Ball to remove more energies from the hand as well. I do see further supporters available. I think I saw a research and an Iona available. So there comes the big attacker in the 2nd, I believe, the Evolving Skies Regidrago that you highlighted. Capable of dealing, was it 240 damage?
240.
Yeah, it does deal 20 damage less for each damage counter on it, but typically it won't have any.
Nope, because if your opponent attacking into it, most likely it's
yeah, exactly. It's going to be hitting that discard pile. But it's the biggest attacker in Chris's deck, as we do see the research being played now. Big 7 cards.
On a need to find a stadium here.
Yeah, instantly the first card there.
Do we find a way to grab the Registeel?
It was the Artisan, I believe, so it's able to instantly utilize that.
Yes, you're correct.
Grab down the Registeel and start swinging away. But is there another way to remove the Regieleki from the active spot to swing away with big damage? I'm not too sure yet.
100% sure on that, you know. That Manaphy is really interesting, because without the Manaphy, you could have Terra Spark this turn and set up the Pidgeot EX, because the Pidgeot EX is weak to Lightning.
Yep.
So you're going to try to bring that up and KO that, but that Manaphy coming down is going to stop that. So it looks like we are going to see Registeel come down.
Yeah, I mean, without switching out, there is a Vessel in hand, so I don't know if there's any more energies in the deck to maybe retreat away from the Regieleki, although it does have 2 retreat costs. So that makes it really difficult, because that Ancient Wisdom ability can only be attached to one of your Pokemon.
It can, and it is worth noting as well, as we do see the first use of Ancient Wisdom. Going to attach that Luminous Energy, Lightning Energy, and Metal Energy. Going to use Terra Spark, discard both those Lightning Energy and Luminous Energy for 120 damage. Chris's first attack of this game.
Yeah, needs to find a way now. That Charizard still has 210 HP, so can go into the Regidrago and still go for the 2-hit knockout. Again, but it's just got to think about how next to deal with the next Charizard that's going to be coming, because that Charmeleon is ready to go.
I mean, it looks like, Chris is going to use, Oscar, I should say, using the quick search to find a boss's orders here. And I wonder if this going to, as we do see the Charizard, and a concession. Wow, okay, wasn't expecting that, but I guess the writing was on the wall there.
Yeah, 100%. I think if you're going and staying at sort of 3 prizes ahead, the writing is on the wall, because you're always having to deal with 2-hit knockouts. There's no way to one-shot a Charizard EX, and that's the difficulty with the Regi's deck at the moment. Not being able to have a grass attacker to deal with such a big threat makes things really, really difficult.
Yeah, I mean, when we saw the match, we were trying to work out how would this go, and I think without any sort of tips and tricks, I'd like to see maybe a TM Devolution.
Oh yeah,
interesting, for example. But without that, you're right. If you sort of fall too far behind, you have no avenue to try and jump ahead on the prize race outside of your opponent. You know, not setting up that second Charizard. So as soon as that comes down, the writing's on the wall, and I really like that early concession there to give yourself as much time to brew in a potential game 2 and 3, so you can start your march towards top 8.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool potential point that you can try and include. But we do, or whenever we have spoken about Regis as a deck before, it's always about that consistency piece.
Yeah.
Really struggles to kind of often get the full board state, get the energies in. But once it does, it has such a easy way to just keep churning out attacks, and generally big attacks from just simple basic one prizes as well. But yeah, introduction of things like the TM Devolution might be one way, but will impact.
Well, we did see that Rotom V get used last game, Alex. That's currently in the prize cards. So as well as one copy of the Reggie Gigas for Chris, and it looks like, is Oscar going first? So Chris opted to let Oscar go first.
Yeah, it's one of those aspects where if you really have the opportunity to just burst through the deck, and it's not, I mean, it's very unlikely, but it's very possible to get 5 energies or 3 energies in the discard and the 6 Reggies out. Is very possible, but super unlikely. But you want to impact Oscar's first turn, maybe hoping he doesn't have the Battle VIP pass, but you know, it's instantly played as soon as he saw it in his hand there. Looks like double Charmander will be coming out. And for the time being, maybe just thinking the Pidgey is a little bit unsafe, so that's why he's gone for the second Pidgey there on the bench.
Because it's worth noting, Chris has led that Reggie Alecki, as we do see the Artisan. Remember, both players can use this. I wonder if Oscar grabs Manaphy here, because Terra Spot is going to be live next turn. Going to have double Charmander, I don't mind that as well. I guess in a real crazy scenario, Chris could attack and boss if you only had one Charmander, if the stars aligned, so I don't mind that as well. But yeah, that Terra Spot is currently live, as you said. It is possible for Chris to attack next turn. Not a bad turn one there for Charizard going first, I feel.
No, not at all, but I guess Terra Spark only dealing 40 damage to your opponent's bench. Doesn't necessarily knock out any of the Pokemon that's available there, other than the actives, 120 damage. But yeah, you're right, just applying that pressure could be something Chris could go for if he has the cards to be able to burst and do so.
Just say, if you were to spread that 40, it would have been a Pidgeot EX into range of another.
That's very true,
Spark,
yeah, very true.
And that's the sort of thing you have to do when you're sort of fighting this uphill 330 HP battle. You have to sort of take the easy ones as and where you can, as Chris is going to start to turn off there with an Ultra Ball, and I imagine he'll be using that Artisan as well.
Yeah, I just had a quick gander trying to work out whether Chris has been able to overcome any Charizards throughout the tournament so far, or even during his run in Liverpool, and I don't think he actually faced many, if any at all.
Wow.
So this is actually quite, you would have gone into these kind of tournaments thinking you may face 1 or 2, but with the rest of the matchups, you tend to be quite happy in some aspects, at least knowing which Reggies to attack with, or which one to utilize. But this is sort of potentially unknown territory for Chris.
Yeah, I think that's quite a stat, though, isn't it? Over 2 events not facing any Charizard, especially when it's, you know, most likely the most popular deck in the room. Or was that one?
It might have been one. But I don't think there has been any sort of Charizard matchups for Chris during the Utrecht special event. So, you know, but that's just sometimes what you need to gamble with a little bit, and in terms of just kind of make sure you know your other matchups as well as possible. Maybe sometimes take a bad matchup here and there, because at the moment I'm still trying to work out the best way of going about this. If Chris can start getting attacks off very soon and start swinging away as soon as possible, there's a world where you're consistently back-to-back attacking and taking those big knockouts and taking those prizes. But if you fall too far behind, like we saw in game 1, it becomes really difficult.
As we do see an Iona being played there for Chris, going to shuffle both players' hands to the bottom of the deck, and they'll both grab 6. But you're right, traditionally, Reggies is a deck that, you know, when it's got all the Reggies out and you've got energy in the discard pile, oh goodness, was there nowhere finding any more Reggies?
Not the prettiest there. I mean, we do have potentially the option to attack with that Reggie Alecki. Static Shock will deal 40 damage to the Pidgey, and does mean it puts it in range if it does evolve up to that Pidgeot EX, and not the bench one, of course.
But yeah, as you were saying, traditionally, Reggies, I think there's 2 mini games going on for Reggies, right? The first one, you can sort of relax once you've done it, and that's getting your energy in the discard pile. Once they're there, they will stay there for the rest of the game, so you can just keep reusing them with Ancient Wisdom. But I think the hardest part, especially with Collapse Stadium being in format, as we just saw in game 1, is that you're always having to find that Reggie that gets discarded, right? On the assumption that it gets KO'd every turn. As we do see the static shock there, 40 damage onto that Pidgey due to weakness. So yeah, a few hurdles for Chris to jump over, but if we see more consistent attacks, I think he can definitely win it. As it is Oscar's turn 2.
Yeah, just one Reggie away from being able to utilize maybe some of those energies in the discard pile and using Ancient Wisdom there as well. Just a Reggie Drago now missing from the board state, as we do see the Artisan utilized here from Oscar's side of the board. You know, just continue to build out everything that he needs, double checking his prizes once again. Those energies are vital to be working with, because a lot of players now kind of reducing the number, as we do see the mana fee come down again, as that Regieleki staring down at the board, potentially trying to Terra Spark as soon as possible.
Yeah, that Evolving Skies Regieleki is the Regieleki, the only one we see. As we do see an Arvum being played there for Oscar as well. Going to grab a tool card and an item. Fantastic card for the Charizard EX decks, isn't it? As it looks like we'll be eyeing up the Choice Belt. Obviously, it has 0 utility in this matchup, apart from being discard fodder.
Yeah, Matt, does look like it's going to be very likely to be the case. Does have Rare Candy already in hand. There's the Choice Belt instantly pitched there with the Ultra Ball. Looks like that Pidgeot EX is coming down, Shay.
Turn 2 Pidgeot, game 1 and 2. I tell you what, if you're a Charizard EX player, can't be any sort of safety net than that, right? You know, for the rest of the game, outside of boss's orders and it gets carried, you have a free search for any card you like. That right there is immense value. There's
a Charizard already in hand as well, so another couple of rare candies being targeted here. Just confirming how many he has remaining. 3 there after already using 1 for that Pidgeot EX. And it looks like we're going to be raining down infernally with that Charizard as the energies start to get loaded up on the board state.
And I must say a massive shout out to Oscar for playing all these play promos. These are gorgeous looking cards. And if you want to get your hands on some of them, make sure you get yourself at the local league level, at league challenges, league cups, and local league meets as well, because they are gorgeous. Got that unique hollow design, and they have the play stamp there in the artwork, as you can see on that Charizard on that left hand side. As we are going to see that Burning Darkness Infernal Rain attaching 2 energy, 180 damage, and Oscar takes his first prize card. Over to Chris. Will we see some Ancient Wisdom this turn, Alex?
That hand is not looking pretty, Shay. It was a couple of energies, a couple of Super Rods, and I think he just top-decked a Regieleki. So we'll have to try and utilize maybe Regigate. And, the Artisan is there, but are there energies available to start swinging away? I did see 1 fighting in the discard. It's just confirming whether there's a second.
Yeah, so was the Luminous there? Was that game when I got discarded quite early? I feel the Luminous might be in this card. We'll have a look.
Well, yeah, once we get the Ancient Wisdom going, we'll find out alongside you, Shay.
Once we are bestowed with Ancient Wisdom, we'll be able to see. But right now, Ancient Wisdom is currently live, so free energy can be accelerated from the discard pile. We're going to see a Grass energy attachment to the bench Regidrago.
Confirming, here we go.
So I see Fighting, Lightning, Fire, and no. There is no second Fighting or Luminous.
This is the only awkward scenario here. Of course, Regirock, not a card that can be easily retreated, has that free energy retreat cost, as well as we do see the energy attachment to the Regieleki. Oh, it's just going to be
that X shot. Oh, we're going to see the Dragon's Horde to draw 4.
Yeah,
one, I should say.
Needs to get some
an escape rope. It was an escape rope.
Hello.
Could have done that being in the hand before.
Could have opened up so many options, as we do see the escape rope played. That opportunity to switch and Gus that our co-caster Benjamin Rabioti was adamantly just arguing for there. We do see it utilized quite well here. We'll be able to get a static shock off, I suppose, for another 40 damage with that mana fee.
Mana fee to lightning.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shay.
So that static shock's been very efficient right now. It looks like Chris debating. Yep, he's going to go into that Regieleki. So that static shock, 40 damage. Now, can Oscar move this? Yeah, many ways. He has a boss's orders as well, Alex.
And target whatever he'd like. Double checks what's available from the discard. I mean, from this scenario, Chris is just missing the energies, in all honesty. It doesn't matter which is knocked out, because those Super Rods are in hand as well. So he can just simply Super Rod them back in, and then use Artisan to get them back out on the board, and then Ancient Wisdom is live once again. So interesting to see which direction Oscar's going to take, which Reggies he may start to look to take out. But you got to be thinking, I guess he's taken 1 Regieleki out, maybe just taking out a second one. in his mind be like, oh, maybe that's the easiest way for the time being.
I'm loving this as well here from Oscar. Going to use that quick search, going to grab himself the Charmeleon. And I quite like the idea of going through Charmeleon, because you aren't to know. There isn't any TM Devolution. It's a card that I think could easily slot into a Reggie's deck. So going through Charmeleon just to remove, you know, any shenanigans.
Ooh.
Was that the Lost Vacuum?
Yeah, he's chosen to Lost Vacuum, potentially remove the Artisan from play as well, removing that potential out to just easily grab another Reggie's. We'll get confirmation, of course, once Oscar does choose, or if he chooses to play it. But this could be a great line here.
Yeah, it is Lost Vacuum. I like that, because then you can sort of keep your Collapsed Stadium for later on as well. We are going to see that Artisan get sent to the Lost Zone, so that will be no freebie search there for Chris next turn to find himself at, the relevant Reggie. And we do see a pay retreat into the Charizard EX. EX, Burning Darkness, second prize card for Oscar.
Yeah, the concern here right now, there's the energy attachment of the grass energy to the active Regidrago. But Chris, it feels like Chris may fall to the same scenario as game one. There's no way to one-hit knock out this Charizard EX. Unfortunately, even with that grass energy, it doesn't become a grass-type attacker. No. Even so, it wouldn't be able to deal enough damage to knock it out in one hit. 160 times 2 is only 320 as well anyway. But moving back onto the game, it does feel like Oscar may take a free prize race lead once again.
So we debate whether to use that Dragon's Horde ability now. Lets you draw up to 4 when Regidrago is in the active.
Whether to utilize that switch card first, maybe just draw the extra card. Well, we can't draw the extra card. It has to be in the active. Sorry, no, Super Rod I meant. Just chucks one energy back into the deck. Just try and maximize those odds of drawing something better than what he's been working with. But that's the crux of this Reggie's deck, unfortunately.
Yeah, like I said, you got those 2 mini games, and once you're rocking and rolling, we're going to that Dragon's Horde being played.
Boss,
Serena,
Reggie, and a Regieleki.
Oh, okay then. Okay, Dragon's Horde, I see you. Regidrago's like, hold on, let me grab up the fellas. Let's get involved now. So Ancient Wisdom is live. Boss Lord is actually really impactful as well. Oh, we're going to go for the Serena to draw cards, I should say.
Yeah, just to draw, pitching away that switch card there. Ancient Wisdom live, does have boss for future turns as well. Is this enough to keep Chris in the game here? This is massive, I think, just being able to utilize that. As we do see the fire and the lightning attached from Ancient Wisdom. 160 damage into the face of the Charizard EX.
Yeah, Regidrago showing its giant fangs there into that Charizard EX. And let's see what Oscar does with that monumental amount of damage on his Charizard EX. We're all going to see that quick search. Well, I just love that quick search, man. Having that in play, just what do I want to do this turn? Let me just go and do it. Let me just go and grab it.
Now, this time eyeing up that Charmeleon, knowing that this Charizard EX is likely to go down, and having a Charmeleon on board means easy access to a second Charizard EX, maybe without having to use quick search for anything like the Rare Candy or a Charizard EX.
I guess it also protects you against Iono as well, right? If you have Charmeleon, if you get Iono'd, quick search just finds you Charizard. That's it. There is no rare candy puzzle needed, as you mentioned. Yeah,
there's an option here where Oscar just chooses to boss around the Regidrago, leave the energies on it, just cause more chaos.
Worth noting, Chris only plays 1 Regice.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have to Super Rod that back if he chooses to try and use Ancient Wisdom again this turn.
I mean, yeah, very, very true there. That Regice is in the discard now, and 2 Super Rods will utilize on the last turn, so could impact it. The energy has stayed on the Regidrago, but Oscar knows this isn't knocking out by Charizard EX.
That's the thing. So a potential real heads-up play there from Oscar. I mean, I'm not sure if Oscar's to know that Chris only plays 1 Regice, but you're right. Since 160 times 2 is 320, that's not enough to KO Charizard. So if Chris wants to take the KO, we'll have to shuffle in the Regice and then get it back. And I think that hand, there might have been a research. There was a Pokestop at the very least. But there's no guarantees, at least right now.
So needs to find one of the 2 remaining Super Rods in deck, I believe. As he is just looking to grab a couple of energies out of the deck right now, just to make sure he's utilizing the right attackers, able to use whichever attackers are available here. Of course, still has hand attachment at the same time. But Super Rod is vital here, just to be able to recover that Regice and find a better attacker against this Charizard EX, because 160 is not enough.
So we are going to see the Professor's Research being played here. This is a big Professor's Research, Alex. We want to find a Super Rod and ideally a way to fetch that Reg Ice back. 7 new trading cards. What have we got? Gift Energy. I don't know. Oh, no, there's no Super Rod there. Oh, no, there is. Really? There is. Let's go.
I guess, is there a way to find a bigger attacker?
Yes, there is. Oh, there's a nest ball. Oh, wait, no, I see what you mean. Yeah, how do we hit over 160?
The only big attacker we have is that Reggie Drago.
There you go.
The Evolving Sky is capable of dealing 240 damage.
Yes, yeah.
So the damage is a little bit capped at the moment, which, yeah, big play. And just unfortunate because Chris had to utilize Dragon's Horde to just get into the game.
There's almost a bit of counter synergy there, right? I mean, Reggie Drago is the one that draws cards, but then the other Reggie Drago is the one that does damage. So you have to wait for it to be a KO before you can use the big one. But yeah, you're right. We're going to see the Earthen Vessel being played here by the looks of it.
Just unfortunately, there's no additional damage modifiers in Chris's deck either. So if it is a swing with Giant Fangs once again, it's not going to be too threatening with that Charizard being able to get maximum value and getting almost 4. Well, not almost. We'll be getting 4 knockouts if there's no way to take this out this turn.
And that's just the strength of Charizard EX, right? 330 HP, stage 2. If you're not dealing with it, there is no text on Burning Darkness. You can just keep doing it over and over, or no negative text, I should say. So you can just keep doing it over and over and over again and force your opponent to find the outs. But you're right, Chris is currently capped at this 160 damage, which is 10 short of a KO.
Yeah, and with that mana fee as well also in play, it's not as if there's an opportunity to gust around it at a latter stage.
Yeah.
You see an energy attached to the Registeel, that metal energy that was in hand. Plenty of energies available as well. Is that... Hang on a minute. Is there a way in the world? Is there a world?
Well, the Heavy Slam did 220 minus 50 for each...
Double checking, right? Thank you, yeah.
Yep.
So it is just a swing with Giant Fangs once again.
Look at all that. That's a silly amount of damage to have on a card, that is. And it's you can't even see the Charizard. It's just dice.
When it's covering the art, I think there's a world where it's just not right. But this is what the Charizard could do, right? This is a big, bulky stage 2. 330 HP is just gigantic to try and get past. And just unfortunately, with only one massive attacker in Chris's deck to deal with it in that Regidrago, the Evolving Skies version.
Yep.
Can't have both of them down together. No. Can't have both of them down together.
It's a shame that both the best Reggies, apart from Regigigas, are Regidrago. You'd love them to be split up, right? You'd have wanted them to be like a Regirock, for example, or something like this. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So it looks like Oscar has used a quick search. Now going to play a Super Rod as well. Shuffle in 2 copies of Fire Energy, and I think has
Ultra Ball in
hand. Yeah, so you know what that means, Alex? We're going to see another Charizard. Yeah, and this is going to be painful, right? If Oscar can just, pay retreat, which he can, send that 320 damage to the bench and say, right, well, you can't get this very easily, and have this next 330 HP Behemoth.
Yeah, going to be raining down once again. 2 energies attached to the bench. Charizard EX now. Just looking very daunting task here for Chris to try and overcome such big, bulky Charizards. You know, the current, one of the most played decks in the format, as it were. That Iono also being eyed up just to kind of refresh his own hands. Yeah, from that 1 card to 3. That Nest Ball is not going to be too helpful right now for Oscar. So just showing that dominating fashion of the Charizard EX deck.
Terrifying archetype in this is a lonely place to be as well. Going to see the Burning Darkness, the 4th prize card there for Oscar. Someone must have turned off the lights and turned up the thermostat because it's getting dark and very hot up in here for Chris. What can we do, my friend? Going to go over. He promotes the Reggie Alecki. And what do you do? I mean, sure, you can take the KO. I'd love to see a Heavy Slam KO. I don't think that's ever happened before.
No, I don't think I've ever really seen Registeel take any, actually deal any damage. As we do see the Hisuian Heavy Ball, just an opportunity to grab the Regigigas that was prized for this game so far, as we do get a chance to glimpse that as well. Opportunity to see what other cards are prized there. Some of the Luminous Energy that he does play.
Oh, that was prized. Yes, you're right. Yeah, it was.
We clocked that alongside you viewers at home watching on Twitch and YouTube, as Chris just tries to work out what is available for himself here. That Reggie still dealing 120 damage, unfortunately, with that reduction of that heavy slam.
Guess that Reggie still is very good at KOing Chen Pao. That is weak to metal.
You're very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
In this case, and there is the Evolving Skies, Reggie Drago as well. That is the heavy hitter with that Dragon Energy doing 240. But yeah, Heavy Slam, Reggie Steel. So I remember back in the day when the Reggies was a more popular deck, that was the Reggie people playing one off because the utility wasn't that high.
Yeah, Regi's having that pretty cool and unique attack, being able to Blizzard Bind your opponent's defending Pokemon V where it cannot attack during your opponent's next turn, only doing 100 damage, but just having that little utility there is great as well. As we do see Ancient Wisdom come down onto that Reggie.
We saw the heavy slam,
heavy slam for the KO on a Charizard. Heavy slam knockout on the Charizard there, dealing 110 over KO on the Charizard, but you know, Charizard's done its job.
It has. Took 4 prize cards. I'd argue he's done more than his job, to be fair.
Very true, very true. We didn't anticipate it being and surviving as long as it has, as we do see the Pidgeot on the active spot. Remember, not just having a great ability, has free retreat as well. Just a fantastic card.
Fantastic card, has a usable attack as well. So you can just promote it on the back of a KO while you plan your turn out, while you use Quick Search to plan your turn out. Then you can retreat into your attacker of choice. As Oscar is going to use that Quick Search now. And let's see what he grabs. Oh, no. The collapse stage being lined up.
I love it.
I can't hide my what's going on.
We did just see Oscar, of course, use Artisan first just to kind of double check what was available in his deck before utilizing Quick Search. And there's the slamming down of Collapse Stadium. Chris did get the energy attachment onto the Red Drago, but one of those things now where Oscar's only got 1 prize remaining to grab. And there's the counter catcher. Is there a way maybe he can stall out?
Maybe.
Oscar's deck.
But
there's the energy attachment, hand extended. Oscar Madsen will be winning and has won a round 12 Swiss match here in the special event of Utrecht and continues on to push for a place in the top 8. But super well done, super well showcasing of this Charizard EX deck. Commiserations to Reggie's. We did get a chance to put the